why don't we get seated, everybody? Hello? Why don't we get seated? It's 5:16. All right. Welcome to the Mesa City Council study session for December 11th, 2023. I think, do we have Mayor Giles on the phone? Does he?
He's going to join us
He's not gonna
for
join
study,
us.
but he will be on the phone
Upstairs.
upstairs.
Okay, perfect. All right. All the rest of council is present. First item number 1, to review the agenda for tonight's council meeting. Are there any further questions from council on the agenda for tonight's council meeting? No. Okay. Hearing none. Item 2. Item 2A is a presentation and update on the City Hall Public Arts Project. So we have Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Okay, Vice Mayor Reyes, City Council members, thank you for having me here. I'm Kevin Von Brubaker, the Festivals and Special Events Manager for Mesa Arts Center. And I just thought I'd share that I do come with a considerable amount of public art management experience, which is why I'm working on these projects here for City Hall and elsewhere in the city. I came from Scottsdale Public Art, where I was a public art project manager there for 10 years, working on permanent projects, as well as the Canal Convergence Festival. Before that, I worked for 6 years for the Phoenix Office of Arts and Culture as a public art project manager. And then even before that, I worked for the Arizona Commission on the Arts, where I worked on the 9/11 memorial at the Capitol Mall. So that's the experience I bring to this, and I'll launch into the presentation. So just a reminder, we're doing these projects because we had some goals, responding to interest and energy about adding public art to Mesa environments, creating a beacon to viewers, communicating that Mesa is an innovative and welcoming community, and authentically enhance the city's sense of place. So there are 4 major components: the interior sculpture, the exterior sculpture or series of sculptures, the interior display screen, which is digital art driven by data visualization, and then an iconic image of Red Mountain for the perforated metal wall. So the timeline, we've gone through the artist selection process, which was earlier this year, April through September. Concepts, you'll see those, one of those later, and that will continue until February. And then once we get approved designs, we'll move into the fabrication phase, which will take us through the summer, and with a target date of September, mid-September for installation when the City Hall is complete. We went through the artist selection process. We had a panel of experts, which Mr. Brady, city manager, was on there. City Ornstein, former Arts and Culture Mesa Arts Center director. Ryan Yee, city engineer. Vince DeBella, president, Adaptive Architects. MB Finnerty, public art administrator for Valley Metro. Mike Goodwin, who works at Idea Museum and is also an artist. And then we had 2 museum and cultural advisory board members, Bradley Peterson and Nick Willis. And as part of the artist selection process, we had 61 applicants for the interior and exterior sculpture opportunities and 14 applicants for the digital content. And out of those, that applicant pool, we narrowed it down to 4 finalists, 4 for the interior and exterior sculpture opportunity, and then 4 for the display screen. You'll see Digital Ambiance was a finalist for both those opportunities. And we did have Arizona artists in the mix, and they were invited, the finalists were invited to do a site visit here in Mesa. So they visited the current City Hall, looked at the grounds where the new one would be constructed. They did a tour of the Mesa Arts Center and other downtown sites and public art in the downtown area. And then they met with city management, city staff, the architects to learn about the site. And then they went off for 4 to 6 weeks and came back and presented their concepts to the panel. And finalists, the artists were recommended by the panel at that point. Just to review the opportunities, the interior sculpture will be by the stairwell that you can see the framing is already out there. For this, it'll be visible at different levels and from the outside of the building through the windows. It'll be lit at night, so it has a nighttime presence, and the budget is $250,000. Here's the concept. Will Clift is the artist. He's from New Mexico. And he's proposing a sculpture in two pieces, one that will rise up from the base of the stairwell and one that will be suspended over the stairwell. I'm going to exit out just so I can read. The panel really responded to his narrative about the piece and the symbolism in it. I thought I would read the quote from his proposal because it's really nice. He said, historically, city or town halls have been sites not only for the administration of government, but places where people from the city or town would go to vote, receive education and entertainment, for medical care, disaster relief. And they are places where private people gather with each other, where members of government meet to administer, and crucially, where the two meet together for the direct interaction between private people and members of government. The space in the lobby, spanning the ground floor and the ceiling above the second floor, is an amazing opportunity to create a sculpture that shows this in metaphorical form to further the message created by the open, transparent, and accessible architectural design. Two related but different forms would span the 26 feet of space, one standing and reaching up, one suspended and reaching down, in clear conversation with each other. This will further the architecture's connection between the more public first floor and more official second floor. Much like the grand staircase is a path between the two parts of this sculpture will connect them in a visual way, a reminder for those who enter the building that the two are not siloed off from each other and that there is a deep commitment to connection and conversation. So that's Will Clift. The exterior sculpture the recommended artist was Digital Ambiance. Now they're a studio with offices in the Bay Area, and they're also working with an artist in New York. They're a very kind of international crew. So we have many minds working on this. Their concept has not been fully realized yet, so we are still working with them. We had a design charrette this past week, and they'll be coming back on December 19th with more development of their concept. But just a reminder, this sculpture will be going in this kidney bean-shaped planter outside, and it should aesthetically fit into the surrounding native plants. It must be able to withstand the outdoor environmental conditions, and it will have exciting lighting elements for a nighttime presence, and the budget is also $250,000.
And Kevin, just a perspective, that planter is 75?
75 feet across, yeah.
Per
wide.
linear, so it's a big space. So, and point you can show Kevin, show him that little platform area in front of it that kind of comes,
Yeah.
faces out
See
onto
it here.
Main. So we want something that, we're still working on the concepts, but the idea is it kind of follows that curvilinear footprint and also kind of creates maybe, I don't know the word backdrop's the right word, but a backing to if somebody's performing or on that platform, so.
Yeah.
That's as far as we got.
Yeah, yeah. In Digital Ambiance, they do something that should be exciting at night to kind of compete with or go in conjunction with the Mix Center, the lights over there. So it'll kind of be this nice draw for people to the building and to the area and to the Plaza Park. And then we have the digital display screen in the waiting area. It's a 16 by 8 digital screen. The content will reference the unique urban desert environment of Mesa, and artists will use data visualization relevant to the city of Mesa. And we had an original budget of $100,000. That was increased to $175,000 because the panel, when they were reviewing the finalists, we had a great studio, Volvox Studio, who came up with great aesthetics. And then we had two ASU faculty from the Mix Center who were already doing data visualization and having their students do work related to transportation data in Mesa, or climate data. So we wanted to pair the two up, have ASU's experience doing this in Mesa locally on the ground here, and then bringing in a more polished studio, if you will, to do the aesthetics of the digital content. And so,
Yeah, go ahead. Kevin. Well, I was just going to say, I think we saw this as a really interesting opportunity. And you talked with Jake Penholster because they are familiar with Volvox.
Volvox.
But Volvox brings a very high professional, clean, aesthetic, very creative. But what ASU brings is very local data that they can collect that would literally feed into the creativity and the there you go, the focus of what Volvox can bring. But they've already started creating the systems or the tools or the instruments to collect, say, whether it's heat or temperature in Mesa or the number of trees or traffic flows or anything like that that could then be, so this would be kind of this very interactive experience digitally, but you would also, oh, there you go. And they're even looking at the things that the city collects. So we felt like it was really an interesting partnership to have these two professors from ASU who gave us some really cool ideas about the types of data we could collect, but their presentations didn't quite meet the visual standards that we saw from Volvox. So we thought, this was a good partnership, and the fact that ASU Mix had already has an existing relationship with Volvox. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, Volvox came and did an installation for the Dia de los Muertos festival at the Mix Center. So they already have a working relationship and are familiar with each other.
So anyway, that's why we kind of combined the two. So
here you can see this is some of the ASU faculty's work translating data from the city of Mesa into visuals. So you can see that they have experience, and it'll be kind of animation that will transition based on the data changing or collecting that day. So hopefully people in the waiting room will learn something about Mesa through this art. And then finally, we have the iconic image of Red Mountain. The photographer selected was Carrick James. He's a local Mesa photographer. He's raised a family here. He's very excited about this commission. He's done work for Arizona Highways, lots of work for Arizona Highways. And he went out and took this image, and it was selected to be the image that will be used to make this perf pattern in this wall here in City Hall. So a contractor right now is working on creating this perf wall out of the image supplied by Carrick James. And the budget for that was $5,000 that we paid for the photograph. And that's my presentation.
All right. Any questions, comments?
I have one.
Mr. Freeman?
On slide 10, did I see mass there for flags there on the right side? Is that?
yes.
So if we have to have any type of memorial or recognition, we can have it there. And that will, any other changes to that, or that where?
No, that's kind of where we're at.
The flagpoles will be at?
The gentleman for the POW flag kind of had that discussion. And so anyway, yeah, we had a flagpole out there, and we would have the POW flag there at the time before we renovated. So we wanted to have somewhere on the plaza to bring back the flagpole. So
Yeah.
that's just to the east of this larger piece that we're talking
Okay,
about.
I was just checking into the
Yeah,
detail.
no, that's
there.
what those are. The graphic makes them, yeah, not clear, but there's
Very
not any
cool.
flags on those, but that's what that's intended to be.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Councilmember Duff?
Yeah, on that same slide, number 10, is there a seawall along there? Is that what it'll be, along the
There are
curvature?
some of the planters that are of that height. I'm hesitating on whether this planter is one of those. There's
Oh,
another
okay.
planter in other places where that can happen. Don't have the detail in front of me.
So
Remember
it's-
the height of this, because it kind of changes, right? Because remember, this is a slightly sloping plane as it comes down to Main Street, because you're coming from the Plaza building, and it has to come, because think about today, there's stairs going up. We don't have stairs here other than that little platform area. So I think the wall varies in height. And Mark and Kevin, I just can't off the top of my head. I know there are walls for sitting, but I don't know to tell you whether this is one of those or not. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's another planter to the east and south that I would suspect would be more like that.
So there'd be some areas.
Yeah,
there
I don't
could
think
be
you couldn't
cover.
sit on it, it's just that maybe the height may not be comfortable to sit
Okay.
on, so.
So is there an intention to making it an area to rest, or no, or we don't want to do that?
I don't know on this particular planter, that was the idea. I think there are other planters around that would be that idea. Because I think it's just, the finishes on the wall, finishes on the wall are very different too. But there are some, I know that, let's go back and pull all the other planters, because I think there are some where that would be,
Yeah.
that was the plan.
And we're not doing any water features, I assume,
Just that beautiful blue glass.
just blue glass? That'll be nice and cool.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if it's glass, but it's.
Oh, it literally is going to be?
Yeah, no, it's
Oh, okay.
intended to be that,
Okay.
yeah.
Didn't
No,
know
that
if it
was,
just a
I don't know if I'm using the word glass is the right word, but that's what it would look
And the
like.
sculpture sits in.
It would sit in there, and so we shared that with the design team, right? So they took that in consideration.
So there's going to be plants along there as well as the blue glass, or is it just trees and blue grass?
Well, right now, this is how we're showing it. We have not a portfolio, a palette of plants that are going to go in all the different planters for them, the landscape architects. What we told Digital Ambiance is we can be flexible. We want to have, because depending on the shape and the width, the length of the piece will depend on, and its height, how much landscaping, we don't want it blocking it, but we do want it still to have landscaping, so whether it's more shrubbery or whether it's more trees on the end, those are conversations we said we want to have, that's a conversation we want to have with them when they come. For the purposes of illustration, we put in, lots of greenery, because that's what we would like, but if there's a piece of artwork that needs to be highlighted, we probably wouldn't have, certainly that middle tree, maybe in the middle of it all,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, all right. And then on the piece of vertical sculpture, I'm debating whether to say something or not, but I'll just put it out there. I like the art, it looks really nice, but to promote it as, council manager, whatever, the city and the residents in this form, it almost feels very hierarchical. I've heard criticisms sometimes even looking at council chambers and how we sit high and then, and people who come to council are sitting lower. And I understand why we sit that way, so there's the visibility, across the room. And I'm not going to, get into that. But it is a certain sensitivity that has been brought up from time to time of residents and being sensitive and trying to be on the same, platform to be one-on-one with people and not feeling a sense of hierarchy. So I like the art, but I wouldn't promote it as symbolism of.
We don't
two.
have, and we were.
You know what I mean? I just.
No, we
I
just thought,
think
we
there's a
thought the artist was very thoughtful in his
sensitivity
idea of
about
having that connection, but we don't have to repeat that again.
So flip it. Just have it be that the council supports the residents.
We'll change the narrative.
Okay.
Yeah, or just completely
I think the
change it,
artwork
but-
by
I'm
itself,
just
the artwork by
saying-
itself stands alone. We
Right,
have to
I'm
get
just saying,
into the.
Yeah.
whatever narrative we
You
put
all
out
can use your
there, be
narrative.
sensitive to residents wanting to feel that they're on it,
No, I don't think that was the intent.
so I wouldn't promote it
Okay, we won't
as
script
that
it out, yeah.
interpretation, because there might be some sensitivity about what we're trying to convey, and I know we're not trying to convey that, but just in the narrative we put out there, so that's my only comment,
Okay.
thank you.
Fair enough.
All right.
And of course, we'll come back with details as the concepts evolve, and we can answer more of these questions.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. All right, we'll move on to item number 3, acknowledge receipt of board minutes. Do you have a motion, Councilmember Spilsbury, second by Councilmember Duff. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 4, next is current events and conferences attended. Council members? Councilmember Spilsbury.
Okay, on Thursday night, we had our second Art in the Park event at Jefferson Park, and it was so successful. Get this, there were over 350 residents that came, so, yeah, huge turnout. My coordinator, Melissa, and I went down there, and I got to do one of the little art pieces. I hope it makes the final cut.
Oh, I don't know. Pretty
I
competitive.
know, like, not all of the council members can be on there, but my handwriting is really cute. No,
Which one at all?
it was fun too, because the artist was there with her baby, walking around, talking to all the residents, and anyways, it was a great event, and I could tell people were really enjoying themselves out there. And then I went over to the menorah lighting ceremony, which was beautiful, very, very well attended. I loved being there to celebrate that first night of Hanukkah there, and to celebrate with their community, and it was a really beautiful event. So I'm glad I got to participate in that. And then on Saturday, I had the opportunity to be a judge for the We the People regional competition over at Mountain View High School. And it's a high school competition that teams compete. It's the Citizen and Constitutional Regional Competition is what it was. And that was the first time I did that. And I found out today that Mountain View actually won. We didn't know which schools were which as we were judging them and stuff. And so cool to see a Mesa High School win that regional competition, so they'll go to state. So that was a neat opportunity to do that as well. Fun to see these younger kids involved in government and politics and Constitution and all of that fun stuff. That's it.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Mountain View.
Anybody else? Councilmember Duff?
I'll add that on Saturday morning, I went to Breakfast with Santa. I took my grandkids, and this is the first one that I've attended. They've attended ones without me, but I was just very impressed on how well it was organized. The breakfast was really delicious. They had quality crafts. And of course, they had their visits with Santa. And there was actually a snowball fight outside the building, and it was really fun, although, yeah, the snowballs were really hard. Yeah. So it was so much fun, and they just raved about it all the way home. So thank you to everybody in Parks and Rec for working so hard. And there was also an auction items and a raffle. Thank you. To raise money for the foundation. And I think it was successful. So thank you for everybody for attending and contributing. And thank you for putting that together. It's really an awesome event. Last night, I went to TikTok in the Mix at Sloan Park. And is a really good event. It's talk all over AZ Central about how did Mesa get, TikTok in the Mix at Sloan Park. And it just speaks well of the stadium that we have and the amenities, and it was well received and well attended, and it was lots of fun. So that's all I have. Thanks.
All right, anybody else? Councilmember Goforth?
I just want to mention that Mayor Giles and I last Thursday went to the commemorative Air Force Museum's Pearl Harbor ceremony, which was really nice. They have a piece of the bulkhead from the USS Arizona that they were unveiling, and and he spoke and had remarks, and it was just a really nice ceremony. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And then we went over to the Falcon Field tenant party. They had a holiday party for their tenants, which was very nice. The city staff did a very nice job of that. So I wanted to mention those two things.
All right. Anything else? All right. Mr. Brady, any schedule of future meetings?
The good news is a light schedule. The next council meeting for this city council will be Thursday, January 4th, 2024. So we'll see you then.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn? Councilmember Summers and Councilmember Duff, second. All in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. We'll visit upstairs.